I am here in San Francisco this week checking out the brand new Samsung Galaxy S26 lineup. The first thing I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of you did too, is that the phones didn't change much this year, and yet somehow two of the phones increased in price by $100. So my plan was to make a video about how Samsung is yet again being lazy with their yearly upgrades and how last year's phones are probably the better buy and all that. But then Samsung started to talk about the new software features of the Galaxy S26 phones. And then I realized something pretty significant. Maybe Samsung is looking at what Google does with Pixels and saying, hey, we should do that too. So for those of you who've never been to my channel before, my name is Scott and I'm a Pixel guy. The main reason I love Pixels so much is that their exclusive software features are better than anything else I've used. Google is the master at identifying problems its users face and then solving them with innovative software solutions. With the Galaxy S26 series, I feel like Samsung is doing the same thing. Obviously, Samsung has done this plenty of times in the past. Every time the company launches a new smartphone, it announces a bunch of brand new software tricks that will, hopefully, entice people to upgrade. But this year was something else for two reasons. First, many of the software features Samsung announced are either directly lifted from the Pixel or subtle riffs on them. And second, Samsung is fully committed to calling the Galaxy S26 series AI phones, not just smartphones, which also ties into what Google wants to do with Pixels. So one of the most blatant things Samsung lifted from Google is called Now Nudge. This is just Magic Q by another name. As a refresher, Magic Q launched with the Pixel 10 series last year, and the whole idea is that it preemptively figures out what you're going to want to do and then offers you a shortcut to do it. As an example, my partner asked me about where I was going to dinner with Qualcomm, and Magic Q found that calendar entry and immediately pulled in that information for me. All I needed to do was tap the suggestion to send her the answer. Samsung's Now Nudge is the same concept. It uses AI to determine what you need and saves you from needing to go hunting for that information. One example I saw was a person asking a friend if they were available on a certain day. The friend got suggestions automatically based on the context of the conversation and the contents of their calendar. Another example was a friend asking about photos from a particular trip. The person didn't need to hunt for those photos, there was an automatic link to them right there waiting for them. These were all really cool demos, but I had seen the same exact ones last year at the Pixel 10 launch. Another thing Samsung is taking from the Pixel is a new screenshots tool in the Samsung Gallery app. This is the same exact idea as the Pixel Screenshots app, which launched with the Pixel 9 series in 2024. On Pixels, you have a dedicated Pixel Screenshots app, which organizes all your screenshots and keeps them out of Google Photos. On top of this, it uses AI to scan your screenshots and determine what they are about, which makes them searchable. For example, if I took a screenshot of headphones I might want to buy, I can just search the app for the term headphones and it will pull them up for me. I didn't need to tell the app the image was of headphones. AI did all the work. Now, I love the Pixel Screenshots app. In fact, I actually have a video that goes in depth into why it's a game changer for me, so check that out up here if you want to know more. But yeah, the new screenshot service in the Gallery app is the same exact idea as Pixel Screenshots. What's weird though is that Samsung is keeping the screenshots in the Gallery app. I think having all my screenshots in one app and all my photos in a different app makes a lot more sense. Even if you don't agree, on Pixels you can always choose to have your screenshots also appear in Google Photos if you'd rather have them in both places. With Samsung's implementation, you don't have the option to separate them, which is unfortunate. Okay, so there are even more examples of Samsung stealing from the Pixel here. Another new feature on the Galaxy S26 series is called call screening. This is the same exact idea as, you guessed it, Pixel's call screen. Galaxy AI will now answer your phone calls and screen them automatically for you. It will ask who's calling and why, and then hand the call off to you if it's someone that's worth your time. This is a feature Pixel phones have had for a long time, and iPhones got late last year with the rollout of iOS 26. Alright, the last one here is called Photo Assist. This feature allows you to use text prompts to edit images. You can do things as basic as changing the lighting of a photo or go all out and generate entirely new aspects, like turning this cake into a whole cake again. This feature came out with the Pixel 10 series last year with the name Help Me Edit. You just input a text prompt and Gemini will edit a photo for you. So yeah, it's clear what inspired Samsung to make Photo Assist. I want to touch more on the whole AI phone thing, but before I get into that, I do want to call out that Samsung is bringing new software features that we haven't yet seen on Pixels. One example of this is the new Finder feature. This is a one-stop search bar that combs through apps, in-app content, settings, connected devices, and more to get you the answers you need. For example, you could ask about what's new in One UI or how to make your screen easier on your eyes, and it will go through your phone to give you a proper response. This is something that I wish Pixels had. The Galaxy S26 series is also going to be the first phones that support Circle to Search, giving multiple results. If you'll remember, the whole concept of Circle to Search actually debuted on the Galaxy S24 series. Now, the Galaxy S26 series is going to be the first to allow you to circle someone wearing an outfit and then get multiple results back on each aspect of the outfit. Granted, Circle to Search is a Google-made feature, so this new tool is absolutely coming to Pixels very soon and will eventually come to all Android phones. So yeah, Samsung has some new stuff, for sure, but I would argue the majority of the new software features are directly stolen from the Pixel, or at least heavily inspired by the Pixel. So now, let's talk about the whole AI phone thing. If you watched the Galaxy S26 launch event, you saw Samsung make this reference numerous times. Honestly, it's pretty cringe. Now, I get what Samsung is trying to do here. Apple Intelligence was supposed to revolutionize the iPhone, but that never came to be, and Apple is still struggling to figure out its place in the AI revolution. It makes sense that Samsung would do this AI phone nonsense to really send home the fact that Galaxy phones actually have all the AI smarts Apple promised would come to iPhones, but never delivered on. It's a classic iPhone versus Galaxy thing, and I totally get it. But even with all that in mind, Pixels have been the AI phone for years now. Way back in 2016, Google CEO Sundar Pichai declared that Google would be an AI-first company. And at the launch of the Pixel 10 phones, Google's hardware lead Rick Osterloh called back to this fact, saying that AI has been at the forefront of Google's mind ever since the very first Pixel phone launch.
And this has been our vision for AI and mobile technology for a very long time. And in fact, we were talking about this at the first Pixel launch almost a decade ago.
The next big innovation is going to take place at the intersection of hardware and software, with AI at the center.
In other words, Samsung can call its newest Galaxy phones AI phones all it wants, but Google's been focused on AI for nearly a decade now. Google just never got corny with it by trying to say Pixels aren't smartphones, they're AI phones. The reason Google didn't do that is because that's super lame. So it's unfortunate that Samsung is running down that path. Anyway, I think it's really interesting to see Samsung doing all this stuff. Remember that Google's slice of the overall smartphone market is very, very small, especially when compared to Samsung. To see Samsung lifting ideas from the Pixel so heavily for this launch really goes to show how the industry is shifting. Let me put it this way. People are buying Pixel phones more and more every year, and Samsung's growth has slowed to a crawl. Who knows what the smartphone world will look like 5 years from now, but from where I'm sitting, it seems like even Samsung seems to understand that Google has been on the right track all along. All right, before you head off, please do me a favor and like and subscribe, as that is a huge help for young channels like mine. And if you want to hear me talk more about the Samsung versus Pixel rivalry, check out this video here, which is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I'll see you all down in the comments.